Deep in the internet, Beastman awakens. Cutting deep power lines as the Beast seems to be going a bit feral. I mean, it has been a while since we've seen him. Going feral as he's not had a chance to fight makes sense. Actually, I'm not that far off. Him not being used for any attacks means he's not gotten any dark chips for use. Meaning that due to the drug allegory nature of the devices, Beastman's suffering withdrawal. He demands a dark chip from their benefactor directly, who acquiesces, but one is not enough anymore, meaning he's no longer going through Shademan for their service. And what the benefactor needs Beastman in specific for is another plan to eliminate Neto, Yuriko once more disguising herself as her sister. Though to be fair with this one, the way her hair is blowing in the wind somewhat disguises the fact that this is Yuriko to even the audience initially, the tip-off being her purple lipstick. And as I've discussed before with this, the twins thing, alongside real people being capable of changing up their style if they want to, makes Yuriko's disguise more legitimate than some others I could name. Like, say, Arsene Lupin III's extensive use of elaborate prosthetics that really should look fake to people, but don't to us because it's animation. Anyways, yeah, Yuriko leads Neto and Mail into the trap at the Sea Tower, a facility built out in a bay area as a showpiece for the capabilities of overwater building and the capability of modern techniques to resist water damage. A bit of hubris there, considering Japan's propensity to be hit by storm surges and tsunamis. It's still better to create artificial islands by transferring actual soil to build up a landmass, like they did with Odaiba. One day I'm going to visit Odaiba just to see Gundam-based Tokyo. Fortunately, the entire facility is just an exhibition hall, so it's not like something like this is regularly populated, outside of when it hosts exhibitions, which it does this day due to the World Attractions Fair that's happening that drew the group's attention. It's basically a giant international flea market, but this is also where things get complicated. See, while Yuriko brought Mail and Neto for her boss's trap, Mariko is also here with Toru and Chisao for their Hot Springs Club, as they're also having an exhibition towards hot springs on another floor, and Yuriko was not aware of that. Hell, despite sharing the appearance, she's so dissociated from her sister's life, she wasn't even aware this was a thing she was into for this to screw over the easy way of executing their plan. Which, to be fair, Murphy's Law is a thing for a reason. How was she supposed to know? Now this does rankle Neto's suspicions that Yuriko might be the imposter among us, but with Mariko staying focused on another floor of the facility, it's not like it's an easy tip-off of immediately seeing the other. Plus, Neto ends up distracted by the sexiness that is Tamako Shiraizumi at the expo to promote the Ura Inn and find some strong international net battlers to challenge. Just as expected from the adorable Momoya Yorozu lookalike battle freak that she is. See? She knows what she wants. But when you want her to? Yuriko uses this distraction to slip away, which is to the detriment of her masquerade, as she bumps right into Mariko, the pair doing the mirror twin thing, until Yuriko gets a chance to hypnotize her so she falls unconscious? Look, I know Mariko can be a bit of a ditz in this continuity, but I didn't think that would work on her. Then again, this could be the show doing an actor illusion joke. Mariko and Yuriko are voiced by Noriko Hidaka after all, who on top of voicing Noriko Takaya in Gunbuster, is best known for playing Kikyo in Inuyasha, as well as Shemha Mefurash in Symphogear, among others. So one could say that she has a habit of playing supernatural evil sides and doppelgangers with points in mental domination talents. It's also ironic that every time she does it, she basically seems to be defeated by a hug. And yeah, Neto's having a hard time with Tamako's ferocity, their strength even showing by minor defects on Metalman's fist that have been repaired time and again in their training to get better and better, something Neto sees and is amazed by. as they unleash their ultimate technique. Huh. You know, I didn't peg Metalman for being a Beastmaster. Yeah, no, Beastman's interrupted the bout, too angry to take a no for an answer. And moving too fast thanks to the Dark Chip, for Neto to be able to send Rockman any chips before he's too injured to use them, even if Rockman was initially able to dodge Beastman's feral strikes. I love this character so damn much. The pair of rival Navis double-teaming the Beast proves too much, though. Rockman shooting out Beastman's eyes, as Metalman's razors literally chop his legs off. And you would think that would cripple him, but it looks like these Dark Chips, as opposed to their game counterparts, grant limited regeneration capabilities at the cost of furthering the Navi's corruption. Yuriko taking advantage of this to use Needleman to sabotage the support system for the tower, cracking the entire structure of the place, flooding the parking lot, and the tremors causing Neto to lose grip on his PET, which falls into one of the crevices. With Tamako's help, they're able to retrieve it before it falls any further, but before they can fully get their hands back on it, Rockman's left to Beastman's mercy. And damn, this sequence is just well animated with how fast and furious they make this fight and the utter onslaught Rockman has to evade on his own, as Metalman's too slow to be able to help Rockman tank the damage. Especially when Savage Man installs another Dark Chip that makes its form distort and become even more bestial. Personally, I consider this a bit of a visual predecessor to the Zoonoid Beast outforms for Navis that will get featured later down the line in .exe Beast. It all comes from somewhere, after all. Anyone kind of find it ironic that Beastman made no appearances during the Cyber Beast sector of the storyline? But when Metalman is able to tank some damage, just damn. He's stabbed through the core and still is able to throw down, as that's normally a death blow for a Navi. Metal Break! Unfortunately, that super rock breaking technique's the limit of what Metalman can do now. So to save his worthy rival, Metalman transfers his data to Rockman in hopes he can finish the job. See, why is halving damage by default not an ability of Metal Soul in the games? Because that just makes too much sense. And it's not like it'd be broken for versus play, as it'd only be able to be used for 3 turns. Unfortunately, that only invokes round 2, the building being further damaged by the creation of a dimensional area, and Beastman realizing himself despite his injuries. Once more trying to attack before Neto can slot a chip, but unfortunately, he misses. And at no worse a time, as Beastman's overuse of the Dark Chips finally gets to him. Complete with a full-on purple palette swap and Beastman's words devolving into inane rambling. And with that, the first of the Dark Blades has finally been deleted. But what Neto and Rockman reached in that moment has completely exhausted them. Worse, what happened to Beastman has raised some uncomfortable questions for Shademan on what the true nature of his Faustian bargain with his benefactor is, as they claim to not know what was up with the Dark Lloyd in that fight, hiding the fact that Beastman's fate is what shall be the end of all those who utilize the power of Dark Chips. The wrap-up. We have 11th hour superpower, for Neto and Rockman very momentarily utilizing full synchro to boost the power of their last sword chip to a level capable of deleting Beastman on a counterattack. Yes, that is what canonically happens here. We have Nakatomi Tower Heist, for this entire scheme disguised as a random happenstance. We have I've Got Soul, for the acquisition of Metal Soul, the second Blue Moon related Soul Unison form. We've got One Punch Counter for Metalman and Metal Soul's Metal Break move. We have Iron Body for Metal Soul boosting Rockman's defensive capabilities through the roof. Who knew that would happen in a rock, paper, scissors game if you gave a rock a full metal jacket? And we have Fanservice Fiesta, between Tamako in her crop top, Yuriko cosplaying as her sister, and Mariko giving the most overt fanservice and cutaways to her Hot Springs Club enjoying the setup mini springs in the C-plot of the episode. Add in the action fanservice of them doing very well on animating the brawls, and if you're not just inundated to such already, your eyes are just going to end up glued to the screen. This episode marks the end of the first third of the season. While normally Japanese series are divided into 12 to 14 episode cours or quarters of content, Rockman Axess instead chose to follow more of an act structure, with this episode being the real conclusion of the first act of the show. Episodes 18 through 34 are more considered a cohesive second act, where more of the secrets kept from us are explained and explored. The entire status quo thrown for a loop, and new dynamics emerge. It isn't until episodes 35 through 51 does the show begin to push its focus towards more key resolution, while everything up to this point truly was more for setting up events, regrounding the story, and addressing where everyone previously in the cast had gone to. And I miss it when Japanese series were formatted like this. To be fair, a lot of Japanese series these days are cut down to 10 to 13 episode seasons if they aren't slated for 26-ish episode consistent runs, with the story continuing on in subsequent installments if they're given enough focus. But even the ones that get the full year order tend to rush their format into quarters so they have a 4-act structure. Or worse, 9 episodes for a 5-act structure. The problem with doing that is, well, a lot of them can end up feeling like they have too much, or conversely, not enough going on to fill that time. So the entire center of the show can just lag because it's too early to get to some plots that are meant to conclude the show, while they're likewise not far enough along to address others that have been waiting for attention. It's actually why shoving and making a story all about major plots can end up a detriment if they have no interesting or intriguing interim bad guys and side stories, as cutting out what can be perceived as filler can end up undermining the broadening of a sense of setting and character, meaning they often would need to be shoved in at awkward angles that don't add anything to what we've been given, and since they weren't given proper time, end up a detriment. It's also why I end up hating a lot of series that split a longer story into 2 decisively different seasons despite it being the same story told throughout, as then that ends up a 6-act story with the closing act repeated a second time, instead of them thinking to keep it as a 3-act story with a major cliffhanger at a relevant cutoff point. But yeah, overall this was a really good and impressive final bout with Beastman, and another shade of things to come as Neto and Rockman take a leap in ability here. Hell, until later events, I don't even think most people realize that this fight, if even only for a split second, was when they first utilized full synchro to counter and defeat Beastman as they did. And that is kind of fair. There isn't that distinct a divide in capabilities for that moment. And other abilities do take focus for the time being, which we'll be seeing more of as the Dark Lloyd arc enters its second phase going forward.